Gaffer, thank you for joining us today, and it's great that you're back. It seems a long time ago since we were in that dugout. And
It does, yeah. I haven't. I've come back as a manager, but I never wanted to come back as to watch a game until I'd finished. Really, same with most of my clubs, and it was just special coming in the car park. I was looking up because when I was down here, before the stadium was finished, I used to go up to the top here in the top level after lunch and just sit there and look at it. Before the pitch was laid, all the drains were there, and it just looked fantastic with the over there. And I felt really proud. I knew Paul Fletcher had done well, and I thought where we'd come from. It was a great achievement to get the ground as well, you know. And then we followed it up with the promotion, didn't we?
Well, if you remember that first game with Wycombe once, and I did exactly the same. That Friday night, you probably thought I should have been in bed, but Friday night, me and my girlfriend, obviously my wife now, we drove up and we parked on that car park because that stand wasn't there. The big red stand wasn't there either. It was just two stands, wasn't there?
It was.
And they were still building it before that first game.
I know they were.
We bloody lost, didn't we?
We lost it. I mean, it was sod's law, really, weren't it? But it didn't stop us. I thought, you know, we had a great team spirit, didn't we? Ronnie Jepson always shouts at me really a bit. He's worked with me for a few years now, and he always used to say, Gaffer, if you hadn't have left us, we would have gone into Premier League with that team, with that dressing room. He said, we were such a good group. I said, I know. But if I fell out with chairman, that was me, I were on my way.
Well, I can remember when you told us, and you might not remember, it was straight after Wembley. We'd beaten Bristol Rovers, and then we're all on the coach, and you told us you were leaving.
I knew I wanted to beat Bristol. You know what it was like. It was probably a difficult half-time for us against them. But the way that we scored the winner, you know, I can see Siebes now. Dunny, I spoke to Dunny last week. He's helping out at Stoke City.
He is, yeah.
And I remember I pulled Crosby off, substituted him, and he come and took his shirt off, almost threw it at me, and said, you know, and all that lot. And then 5 minutes later, the Dunny, who I put on instead of him, crosses the ball, and Siebes goes and scores, and the rest is history. You know, great times.
Brilliant. And I'm going back then. You talk about some of the lads. You've mentioned Ronnie, but Bully, you got him from non-league window cleaner, Logie, bricklayer, plates, plasterer. Yeah. What a team!
It was a good team, but I wanted a lot of property doing. So I thought if I get them three, I can sort my property out. You see, at right time. But no, seriously, they all had things to prove. They weren't fantastic players, but they were all good at what they did. Bully, I only watched him for probably 10 minutes, 11 minutes with Mick Jones, who sadly passed away, Andy, this week. But we went to watch him play Metropolitan Police, somewhere like that. And within 5 minutes, 7 minutes, he'd won a header, won a tackle, knocked somebody flying, and went. And I said, "Come on, Mick, we're going. 10 minutes gone." He said, "We're going." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why don't you fancy him?" I said, "No, I'm going to sign him." And that's how we got Bully. Logie, like you say, he was a builder, and Clates. People don't realise it's not just what they do on the field, but you get people like Clates and Logs and Bully, and you know that dressing room was something special, wasn't it? They all had a contribution, and I've got goose pimples talking to you now, Andy, and I always think when I look back at my career and I look at the promotions I've had, I think every one of those promotions, the players will have a reunion. And when I look around the table when I'm at that reunion, I know they're all talking like they were all those years ago, and they're all together again. And it gives me a lot of pride that, you know, I watch the Premier League nowadays and score a goal, kiss the shirt, and they're off next week. And they'll never have reunions in 10 years, whether they've won the league or whatever. So it's great to think back about the type of players you've mentioned there, because they all had the part to play.
Yeah, we had a great team, we really did. And
you caused me the biggest headache, because I had to. I remember talking to Mick and saying, "I'm going to give this young Boothy, a game." He said, "Well, what are you going to do with Ewan? Ewan Roberts, international player." I said, "Well, I'm going to leave him out." He said, "You'll get slaughtered with fans." I said, "No, Boothy's a young Huddersfield. They'll give him a chance." And he said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." And that's what happened. And fortunately, you know, you come through like I thought you would. I thought you'd do well. You know, you're the best header of a ball I've ever had. You and I had a lad at Helgerson at QPR, very similar. But it's been great to watch your career. You had a good career, and then to see you back here. You know, I can't speak volumes about you.
But that game where you dropped you and I'll never forget. It was Arsenal. It was
the cup.
It was Arsenal two leg and you're dropping you and it's Starby as well. Did you drop Starby?
I think so.
Two biggest players.
Yeah.
Cheers, Gaffer. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But like I said, you always had faith in me and you knew. And probably the best thing you did for the club for my career was bringing Ronnie in. Ronnie, I know you've worked with him.
Well, you needed somebody. He used to, you know what he's like. He talked to referees, he talked to opponents, he'd give somebody a bit of stick, and he just took a bit of pressure off you. And I thought all you had to do was win the ball and play your game. And people didn't see what Ronnie did, but you did, I did. And even to this day, you know, I always say, you know, resurrected your career, Ronnie.
You did. Yep, he did. He was Exeter, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
From nowhere.
But he was good at what he did.
Oh, fans loved him. And I still smile because he reffed the game, didn't he? Probably fans didn't know that, but poor ref. And you wouldn't touch that.
Yeah.
And then Ronnie in his ear for 90 minutes. It must have been a horrendous playing as well.
I know. I mean, I'm going to do some evening with. Obviously, I'm doing one in Huddersfield in a few weeks. And Ronnie's coming with me on all of them, because to remind me about certain things that I might forget about. But just having him in my company, it makes me smile. And I think back, like you say, he was such a pain in the backside, wasn't he, for officials and that. And it made my job a lot easier. Yeah.
And just going back, one game stands to mind. Everybody talks about the Shrewsbury game where where obviously the cameras were in the changing rooms for the first time. And I tell him, you calmed it down a little bit that game.
Yeah.
That afternoon, it was unbelievable.
But we shouldn't have played it, should we?
No.
I mean, it was never playable. But the referee was it was his day in fame, and I've seen him a few times since, and there was only him wanting to play it really. But you know, it was one of them things. We got on it and we tried and what have you. It didn't come off, did it, on the day? But the lads didn't let me down very often. You know, I've got such great memories of these lads. You know, Simon Trevitt and you know, they were all. We had Tommy, didn't we? Tommy Cowan. I used to love Tommy. When I saw Tommy in the morning in the tunnel or when he was coming in training, he always made me smile. No matter what happened, he'd always make me smile. It was good to be around, and it was a very special set.
Well, you can name them all, can't you? And then you go through Simba.
Scal? What about Scally? Yeah.
He's doing well in Ireland, isn't he? I think he went on to.
What was it? Was it a guitar he played? I mean, we used to end of the season when he got his guitar out. I thought, oh, we can't have any more ballads with Scal. But yeah, he's doing well.
It's brilliant, wasn't it? And one more game that nobody will probably know, and I'm just looking out on that pitch. It's fantastic. It's today. They're watching it. One game that's been cancelled on the pitch for waterlog was against York, and you were the manager.
Yeah.
And you might not remember this, and it's a little bit of a story, but we'd been to Jersey for a week, haven't we? And we'd had
that flight. Oh my God. Your life in their hands, wasn't it, coming by. Oh. I remember the headwind coming into. I've never felt so frightened in my. And that was only in the airport, wasn't it? Walking towards the plane. And I remember saying to me, this is dangerous, mate. But because we stayed another day, we had to get back or we'd be heavily fined.
Yep. And we were in no fit state to get. And it absolute poured down, didn't it?
It did.
20 minutes before.
I think I might have had a chat with the groundsman that day. I can't remember exactly, but I know we'd had a good week. You know, the lads had a few drinks and really relaxed and enjoyed themselves. So it didn't disappoint me that game was off.
And if it had stayed another 10 minutes, hot water had gone and it'd been playable. So. But now, obviously, you've had a fantastic career. Wherever you've gone, you've got promotions and everything. And so now you're retired, officially retired, or is there a chance of you coming? Or I'm going to just listen to your.
Well, I've retired about 5 times now, so it's. I'm looking forward to doing these evening withs because there's a lot.
What date is it?
I think yours is the 23rd. I think.
23rd of September.
I think so, and it's. What I like about it is I've looked about the stories I've had, even from when I first started at Notts County. Cloughie was the other side of the river, and I had a couple of afternoons with Cloughie. Some of the stories I've got about Cloughie and Wenger and Ferguson and them, I can now bring them out. I can tell the public now and not worry about the FA getting fined. I've paid enough money there over the years. So I'm looking forward to telling a few stories and making a few people laugh, really. I think that's what I wanted to do with my football teams. I wanted people to enjoy my teams and go home thinking, wow, what a day that was, you know. That shot, that save. You know, Franny was here, went to the goalie, just thinking about him.
And you did, didn't we? Like, when we had his reunion, it's a few years ago now, lads were just going back exactly the same, weren't we? And
a bit more hair, they had a bit more hair.
A lot more. I can't believe I've got less than Dunny now. How can I have less hair than Dunny?
I know.
But the lads are brilliant. And I've talked to a lot of them who, like obviously we've got Lee Bromby here and Tongy here.
Yeah.
And they all say exactly the same about you. We had fun, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we played. Yeah, we might, as a team, as individuals, we're all great players, but as a team, we were together.
I think life's too short, and as I said, I've always wanted, since I was a boy watching Sheffield United, I was so excited when I watched Sheffield United as a kid, because my dad, worked steelworks, and we had to get there last minute, and I used to crawl under the turnstile so I didn't pay any, and we used to jump up, and the atmosphere, and I thought, right, I want people to remember my teams. I want them to enjoy it. I want the fans to think, wow. And I've been fortunate I've been criticised about long ball and all that, but that's a load of rubbish, really. I think it's just that at Notts County I had a team that couldn't pass water, so I got labelled with that. Yeah. But here we played some good football.
We played a bit in the right areas, didn't we? Yeah. I can remember you telling Pat Scully and Sinbad, if you kick it as far as you can, well, the lads.
You know, with Sinbad and Scally, they thought they were good. They thought they were Beckenbauers, didn't they? And I said, if you ever lose it by playing, I'll bloody have you, you know. So make sure you play it early doors, and then we played from there. But I thought in the other half of the pitch, we played some really good football. I thought, and I thought it was exciting to watch, and I think the fans loved it. And never forget coming back up the motorway after the Wembley do. Bloody hell! I mean, that was the Bristol Rovers game. And it was the most difficult half-time talk I've ever had in my career. And people say, well, really? I say, yeah, really. Because we'd battered them first half, haven't we? Yep. And then we'd scored in injury time, and then we conceded in injury time. So from being on a high, knowing that we could win it easy, we go in the dressing room, and everybody's head was down, if you remember.
I remember it like
and I went in the shower room with Mick, and I said, bloody hell, Mick, this is my hardest I've ever got to do this. He said, I know. He said, look at them in there, and all your heads were down.
It was like we were 3-0 down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was. I remember it. And we read it.
And we played so well.
Add it up.
I come in on him and saying, well, lads, you've played so well. I've got so many gooses here, and they come in talking. But I remember looking at you all and saying, wow. You've played that well. They'll be going in there thinking, how the hell have we got come in here 1-1? I said, but what they don't realise is we can get better second half. That's what I said. We can get better second half. We could come away winning this game, lads. You lads enjoying it. You'll be heroes forever at Huddersfield. So grasp the opportunity, and it was great. We deserved it. I mean, they had a couple of chances. Franny made a couple of saves.
Stewie missed a couple of chances later on.
But I thought we really won the game. I mean, the semi-final. I mean, how they never scored 2 or 3 goals here. I can see the lad Taylor now threw on goals twice, and we come away with a draw. And the second leg, I remember Sharon, my missus, with Paul Evans's missus down. They drove down, and I went into the director's box before the game, and they were behind the seat. There were a crate of champagne. And I saw that, and I thought, great. So I said to the cleaner that was over there, what's the champagne for, darling? She went, oh, they've ordered that for after game. I thought, big mistake that. And I remember coming down and saying, lads, they've only got the champagne in the stand, so I want them to give it us when we're celebrating after the game, you know. So make sure, and if you remember, when you equalised down there, didn't you?
Bully went away
1-1, and the penalty that Bully scored was probably the worst penalty I've ever seen in my life. It trickled the goalie dived one way and it trickled in.
Yep.
I'll never forget it. And we were at Wembley.
And he didn't even know it went last one, did he?
No.
He didn't take it fourth one. So I couldn't understand why everybody running to it.
No.
But you might not know. Well, you probably should. In the afternoon, obviously we had a good card school back then.
Yeah.
And usually afternoon we all go to sleep and rest at night. But not one of us could. Obviously the big games we couldn't sleep. But we all thought, well, we've blown it here. We thought we needed to take something to Brentford to have a chance. So we all thought, well, we've got a chance. Probably going to lose this. So we ended up playing cards all afternoon, not resting. And it was probably the best thing because it kept
take your mind off it.
It did, yeah. It did.
I found out a few things since I retired about one or two of my squads and what Mick Jones did. So it's.
We couldn't tell you everything.
No, I didn't want you to either.
But you got. To
but I found out most.
You found out a lot.
I found out most things from behind the scenes.
Especially in nightclubs. I wouldn't even go that way. How you?
I had my spies. But you never let me down. I think if you enjoyed yourself, trained hard, which you did, and you went out together and you had good nights, as long as that Saturday afternoon come on this pitch at 3 o'clock, I knew that you would die for me. And that's the biggest thing I can ever say, compliment I could give you lads. On a Saturday at 3 o'clock, I never worried about you once.
No.
I knew if I wanted to go in trenches, it would have been with you lot.
Well, I remember, and we used to have to be in for 2:45. You have to be, shin pads done, tie-ups done, everything sorted, and you had 10 minutes with us, didn't you?
I did.
You used to start with Franny and you'd go around and building up, and by the end, we were banging door down, weren't we? And we won a lot of games.
In that early doors, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And people don't understand that. I mean, now it's all, you've got managers now, these young lads, with clipboards and...
How are you then like that? How are you? I'd love to know how you manage now.
I don't know, but I think I've changed with the time. Yeah. I think, like at Middlesbrough last year, I think if you ask the lads, I think they enjoyed it last year with me. Cardiff, definitely. Yeah. So I think it's just a matter of changing and getting good staff doing what they're good at, because the game has changed. But what hasn't changed, Andy, is motivation and man management. That's still the same, and that's where a lot of young managers let themselves down because they can't motivate anybody. Exactly. And it's all right knowing this A, B, C, D, and coaching, being the best coaching, but managing a team, getting the best out of that player, getting 25% more after you finish with him to win a game, that's what you can't get a degree in now with these managerial courses. So nothing's changed in that respect, and I've always loved that man management side.
Final couple of questions. I've heard you cycling. Like, you might not know this, but I run a cycling event every year for the local charities, and we've raised over £2.5 million for Yorkshire Air Ambulance and other local charities. So, and I hear you and Sharon are on your bikes.
We love it, absolutely love it. They're electric bikes.
That's what it is.
But we in Cornwall, a bit like Home Firth where I lived here, the hills are like that, and I don't want to get off my bike to walk. So we've got these electric bikes. We do about 35 miles every time. Take a bit of coffee out with us, and we see we go down roads that are dead ends and places. Are you with me? That you won't go in car.
No, I know exactly.
And we see some fabulous places, and I love cycling. I love cycling.
Well, P4P11, what we call it, is it's always the last week of the season. So if you and Sharon want to join,
how
you're
far?
More than welcome. Well, we go abroad. It's probably going abroad. So we go on ferry with all the fans. So we take like 150 support.
Do you?
But Dean does it. Dean and his wife do it. So we have a fantastic time, and it's good. It's fitness. It's fitness. It's good for the.
I'm glad to see Dean back as well.
Definitely.
I think he's like Huddersfield Dean, and I know he's had some. They've had some sticky times and everything, but when I found out he'd come back, I thought, I'm really pleased. I know they've had health issues, etc. But now it's great, and I just hope that we can carry on. I thought you were very unlucky last year.
Gaffer, September 23rd, Town Hall. 7:30 start. There's still a few tickets.
You're coming. You'll have to be on the stage for half an hour. That's all. So a bit like when you played, half an hour. That's what I got out of you.
Well, I'll take that. Me and Ronnie will definitely be there.
I haven't spoke to Bully yet. I'll have to try and get Bully up.
Well, Bully, he keeps ringing me.
I know he does me. I put the phone down.
Well, I keep giving him your number. You must keep blanking him. And he says, "What's Gaffer's number?" I said, "Bully, I give it you." So I hope you don't mind me. And he's coming next week. We play West Brom, so Bully's coming.
Yeah.
But if you asked him,
he was an absolute gem of a lad, wasn't he? And he still sends me messages. And what have you. And I love him to bits. I mean, you got what you saw with Bully, didn't you? you.
Oh, and what you can't understand is you took Ronnie, but why did you take Bully on your coaching?
Oh God, I couldn't. I mean, Ronnie, at least Ronnie could talk. I mean, Bully he was a window cleaner, wasn't he? And but he was a good window cleaner, he tells me. But
Would you trust Bully doing your windows, climbing up, walking through your windows?
But well, like I say, he was a integral part, wasn't he, of that squad. And I'm hoping that quite a few of the lads come for that do. It'll be good to talk about a few stories. I'll be asking you about some of them you've just mentioned. Because at 73 you forget things, don't you?
You know, it just brings everything back as well. We're talking nearly 30 years ago.
I know. He doesn't seem it, does he, Andy?
No, not all.
And I'm looking forward to today. You know, always like to beat Stoke City, if I'm honest. Not one of my favourites. So it'd be nice to see you get 3 points.
It's an important game, yeah. Obviously, we might not have the greatest of starts, but if we can get a win for Danny Schofield, it'll be a great day.
It will.
Gaffer, thank you very much for giving your time.
Cheers, Andy.